Hey family, pull up a chair. This is Fed by Fire, where we don't fake it, we face it. And I'm your host, Christian Whitlow. You know, a working man, a father, a survivor of the flames. I helped ignite myself. And every night, I bring you the truth. The streets try to hide, and the media won't slow down enough to explain. Tonight, we're breaking down 4 federal cases that hit every corner of America: drug trafficking, exploitation, and the quiet machinery behind the violence we see in our neighborhoods and in our country. These aren't just headlines, these are warnings, and under the Homeland Security Task Force created by the Executive Order 14159, federal pressure is intensifying from all angles. So let's get into it. Because, knowledge doesn't just protect us, it saves lives. Get my vape right quick. Alright, Memphis, we're going to be talking about the Ben Getting Bags drug empire. Let's get into it, y'all, starting in Memphis. We begin in Memphis on December 3rd, 2025. A superseding federal indictment dropped on 15 defendants, all tied to a multi-state marijuana trafficking enterprise called Ben Getting Bags. The feds allege they moved over 1,000 keys of bud across Tennessee, Oklahoma, Texas, and California. Since mid-2024, this wasn't just a neighborhood thing or just a little hustle. This was industrial. And when the HSTF, the DEA, the IRS, and local law enforcement swept in, they seized 200 pounds of bud, 1,850 plants across 2 states, rock, blow, 2 kilo presses, around 50 firearms, and $550,000 in cash, and over $1 million in luxury vehicles and jewelry. The DEA leadership said it in plain. These organizations are violent by design. The IRS, the CI, said the money laundering trail was sprawling, and on one of 14 or 15 were arrested. One remains a fugitive. Alright, here's the deeper truth. People love to say it's just weed, but operations of this size with cash and guns and grows and, interstates and pipelines, they always have a little bit of violence and corruption and, other things going on that affect our communities. And you don't move 1,000 keys without it hurting somebody, And as someone who's watched whole blocks crumble under the weight of so-called harmless hustles, I promise you this: no empire is victimless. I mean, it's just the game in general. But alright, let's talk about case 2, the 1-pill killer in Arizona. Alright, now we shift from an empire tragedy to November 24, 2025. Dominik Lopez, 24, of Mesa, Arizona, was sentenced to 108 months for distributing Fetty that caused a young person's death. And here's how it happened. The victim reached out on an app called Whisper, and they bought 4 pills for $40, and they take one, and within hours they're gone. I've seen it over and over from fentanyl toxicity. 2 milligrams, the size of a pencil tip, is enough to kill. Yeah, when I was locked up, you'd see posters that had that everywhere. But prosecutors are reminding us that drug poisoning is now the leading cause of death in Americans aged 18 to 45. That's not a crisis, that's basically a battlefield. Alright, and let's talk about what makes this so devastating and how quiet it is. No shootout, no high-speed chase, just a private message, a $40 exchange, and a life erased. As a father, I hear about these cases like this, and I see my kids' faces. One wrong pill, one wrong connection, that's all it takes, and that's why I'm lucky to be here. In this wave of the opioid era we're in, but Arizona said they're fighting for a fentanyl-free America. But until then, this is the danger we warn our communities about daily. Let's talk about case number 3, the Greyhound Ghost Mule. Let's get into it, y'all. Next, we move to the highways that connect this country. December 5th, 2025, Charlie N. Steens, 58, of Pensacola in Texas City, Texas, is sentenced to 15 years for transporting ice and blow across state lines. This case is wild because back in 2023 in Houston at a Greyhound station, agents found 10 keys of ice and 1 kilo of blow hidden in luggage. In linked to Steens, he bonds out and he vanishes. But the agencies didn't forget about him, and they never do. So let's fast forward to late 2024 when he's arrested and apprehended again on another Greyhound bus in Mississippi, this time headed towards Florida, with 4 more keys, same method, same route, same destruction. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office, this was a whole government operation. The DEA, the FBI, the Florida agencies, the Texas agents, the Mississippi troopers, all working together under the Homeland Security Task Force model. The lesson here is sobering, that trafficking isn't always cartel convoys or flashy kingpins. Sometimes it's a 58-year-old man with a bus ticket and a suitcase. And while he's riding coach from Texas to Florida, communities are left to pick up the pieces. As a father and a man rebuilding his life, this case reminds me how fragile our progress is while we're fighting to protect our children's futures, our sobriety, and others are moving quietly in the background, pushing destruction through everyday transportation systems, we all use. But their day will come. They always get you. Let's talk about case number 4, the motel minor monster. Alright, this is going to be the darkest case we talk about tonight. So this is going to be graphic. On November 7th, 2025, a Brooklyn man named Soab Butcher, 31, is sentenced to 121 months for conspiring to traffic a minor for commercial sex. Court documents reveal that in August 2019, Butcher met a minor at a train station and moved her into motels in Elizabeth, New Jersey. Over months, a co-conspirator posted the escorts as coordinated clients, and Butcher collected the money. So he was pimping her out. The exploitation went on until early 2020, and prosecutors emphasized that protecting minors is non-negotiable. FBI leadership stressed that exploitation destroys the vulnerable at their core. The New Jersey Human Trafficking Task Force, they strengthened under the HSTF resources, dismantled the operation, and secured a conviction. You know, as a father with full custody, cases like this, it hits my soul. And our children, there are everything. And predators like this, they look for the cracks, the train stations, the bus stops, the kids with nobody to protect them. And that's why we speak out. That's why we expose these monsters. Because awareness is the first weapon in protecting our kids. But, you know, we just got to grow as a community. But, alright, family. These 4 cases show the full spectrum of what our country is fighting. Cartels, pills, transportation pipeline, and exploitation in the shadows. And whether the threat comes from, a grow in Memphis, a $40 pill, a Greyhound mule, or a Brooklyn predator, the damage is real, it's deep, and often it's invisible until it's too late. The federal agencies under the Homeland Security Task Force are hitting these networks harder than ever. But the government alone cannot protect our families and the people we love. We have to stay informed, check up on them. We have to talk to our kids. They got to be aware. We have to lock down our finances, our technology, our habits, our homes. It's just a different time now, and we have to keep each other lifted. So tonight, I pray for everybody, all the agents out there risking their lives, the victims rebuilding theirs, and the parents fighting every day to keep their kids safe. I pray for strength, wisdom, and protection over every family listening. And if this episode brought you value, and hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Your voice shapes this movement. This is Fed by Fire, where we don't fold, we forge. I'm Christian Whitlow. God bless you all. Stay safe, stay sharp, and stay fired up.